Hello, my name is Nelson Sintra. I'm an alum of the Labouré Society, and I'm now in formation at Mundelein Seminary in my second year. I'm studying for the Diocese of Boise. And I'm here with Megan Lightfoot, and Megan's an aspirant here with the Labouré Society. So Megan, tell us a little bit about yourself and about your upbringing.
Yeah, so I grew up in a Catholic family. I have one older sister. She's 4 years older than I am. In rural Iowa, I grew up on the family farm. So we would go to Mass every Sunday. I attended youth group. We would pray before meals. But other than that, I wouldn't say that my faith was lived out very much at home. But it was definitely a blessing to have that Catholic upbringing. I went to a small rural community school.
Sure. In that youth group, did you have youth ministers that were really close to you and had an impact on your life? And
We did. Yeah, I had the blessing of being able to attend NCYC, or the National Catholic Youth Conference, twice as a high school student, which ended up, looking back on it, was very impactful in my life, and I wasn't necessarily aware of it at the time.
Beautiful. Was that when you started thinking about a religious vocation, or did that come later on in life?
That came later on. That was the point when I really started to think about putting God first in my life, and creating and developing that personal relationship with our Lord.
Okay. So then after high school, you went to college?
Yes, after high school, I went to college at Creighton University in Omaha. So I started out in undergrad, and then going into school, I knew that I wanted to go to pharmacy school.
Okay.
So I only did 2 years of undergraduate studies, and then I started pharmacy school, which is a 4-year program.
Also at Creighton?
Also at Creighton, yes. And it was during that time that the Lord really swept me off of my feet. He really spoke to my heart and drew me closer and closer to Him through many beautiful relationships with influential people, friends inviting me to Mass, joining a Bible study, spending more time in Eucharistic Adoration.
Eucharistic Adoration. We always hear about Eucharistic Adoration in Vocation discernment.
Absolutely.
Talk more about that.
It's very, very influential, very impactful. When I first went to Creighton, there was a group of students that were beginning to ask for and create times for more Eucharistic Adoration on campus. So we'd have perpetual adoration on Wednesdays, and then Monday nights we would have adoration. And always having the church there to be able to go to, always open and always unlocked. But just to sit there in the presence of our Lord and to receive His love, to let Him love me and to ask Him the tough question, like, Lord, what do you really desire for my life? Why am I here? What am I doing studying in pharmacy school? To share the joys and the sorrows of just everyday life with Him.
So during that time, that desire for religious life began to grow?
It did. It kind of started with the prompting of a friend. She asked if I had ever considered religious life when I was a sophomore in college, and my initial response was no. I haven't. Growing up in rural Iowa, I wasn't exposed to any religious sisters, so I was like, I never even met a nun. How would I even know that I wanted to do that? But she recommended that I go visit a community, just to go visit, just to have the exposure. I kind of brushed it off at first, but it came up in more conversations, and I finally listened to the Lord's tug on my heart. I was like, fine, I'll go visit. And I went, and it was beautiful.
Where was that community?
At the Marian Sisters, in Lincoln, Nebraska. And I was just so surprised at their joy and just their authenticity. Like, they were real, normal people who cared about me and loved our Lord so much. And after that visit, I would go back with the sisters. I would come up with excuses of going on retreats and any reason that I could go visit the sisters, while I wasn't necessarily aware that the Lord was inviting me to pursue a religious vocation. But my heart was drawn there.
So you just had an attraction to spend more and more time with them.
I did.
Before even thinking, maybe this is where I'm going to spend the rest of my life. That wasn't in your mind.
That was not. Initially, it was, this is a great place to visit, but I'm going to get married. I'm going to have a family, and that was my plan.
So when did it switch?
I switched when I was a second-year pharmacy student. Pharmacy school is known for the second year being the hardest year. So it was a rough year academically, and I was kind of down at the bottom, like spending a lot of time with the Lord. Why am I doing this? And really coming to know more of my true identity as His beloved daughter. And hearing the Lord ask me these questions: what is the deepest desire of your heart? And responding, surprising myself at times that really the Lord was the deepest desire on my heart, and wanting to give everything to Him, but not knowing what that looked like until the Lord would prompt and say, be completely mine, be totally mine, come and be my bride, which was a very beautiful and humbling invitation.
Sure.
For sure. So I was working through all of this with a spiritual director.
Okay.
That was very helpful. And
was the spiritual director in that community?
She was.
Okay.
Yes, she was. That relationship developed from that first visit.
Was that scary at first, or did you embrace it right away?
It was a little bit scary at first. More so that I had no idea what to expect, and I didn't know what was going to be coming. But once I took that step and said, yes, Lord, I will discern, it was really beautiful and incredibly freeing, and joyful to know that I can say yes to this, and maybe it's where the Lord is leading me, maybe not. But there's just so much joy when you recognize the Lord's invitation.
Okay, so you've been spending a lot of time with them, praying with them. What is their ministry? What is their charism?
Their charism is doing God's will joyfully in the imitation of Mary and St. Francis.
Okay.
So they are a Franciscan community. They have various apostolates in service to the diocese, which is very beautiful. Some of the sisters teach. They work in women's ministry, in healthcare, and then any other service that's in the needs of the diocese.
Okay. And so you want to enter them, right? You believe that God is calling you in this direction.
Yes.
Has there been an application process? Have they accepted you?
There has, yes. I am conditionally accepted. The condition is that my student loans are what's blocking me from entering right now.
Okay. So once you resolve your student loans, you'll be able to continue on in the formation?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So now you've come to the Labouré Society to help with that, with resolving your loans. How did you find out about the Labouré Society?
One of the board of directors of the Labouré Society, Tim Bastian, he is a professor at Creighton.
Great.
And one of my friends knew him because he teaches in the business school. And I was talking with my friend about my desire to apply, but being afraid to apply while I still had my student loans in the way. He's like, oh, you should talk to Tim. I heard about him and his daughter. Worked with this group and something. He wasn't really familiar with it. So he got me in contact with Tim, and Tim told me all about the Labouré Society and just the fruit that his family and his daughter received from that, as she is now a professed religious sister, which is very beautiful.
What is do you remember his daughter's name, his daughter's religious name?
Sister Francesca.
Sister Francesca. I've seen a picture of her, the joy in her face just radiates even through the picture.
Very beautiful.
Okay, so now you've come to the boot camp and you've been learning this for the last 3 days. You're going to go home and you're going to start fundraising. What is the message, the number one message that you're taking away from this weekend?
It's all about relationships. I have to admit, being honest, coming here, I was nervous and I didn't know what to expect. But I knew that I have a need in order to follow the Lord's call. And I was kind of focused on the money part of how Labouré was going to help me. But being here this weekend, all of the staff, all of the aspirants and the alumni, it's about the relationships. It's about bringing others closer to Christ and becoming closer to Christ ourselves. It really feels like a family. I've been here for 3 days. So it is just those relationships and coming closer to Christ. And if it's all according to His will, the money will come.
Absolutely. And I would echo that sentiment about family. I've been involved in the Labouré Society for a little over 3 years. And my relationship with the staff, with different aspirants, with the volunteers, the accountability partners, has just continued to grow over the years. And I'm very grateful for that. And my experience has been that formation won't start later on once you enter the community or once I entered the seminary. But formation actually started when I joined the Labouré Society. And now for you, as you're joining the Labouré Society, and you've gone through this training, you've read some textbooks, and now you're going to go out and start sharing the love of God with others. It's a beautiful gift that we get to be a part of.
It is. It's a very beautiful gift. Very
Megan,
blessed.
thank you very much for being here.
Thank
you for taking a few minutes to sit down with us and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely. Thank you.